Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again. Here this time with my reaction to long-awaited and quite heavily requested reaction to the Killing Field, the Four Corners documentary in and around the explosive new allegations of Australian Special Forces war crimes. So I haven't watched this, I haven't seen it. I sort of put that in the category with, here we go again with more media, mainstream media, slanting things and rubbishing a particular part of the Australian Defence Force in the media, so trial by media type stuff. So I haven't been avoiding it, I've just not been interested in watching it. But seeing as I do these reactions to a whole bunch of different things, and I've been no stranger to doing reactions to requests that have come through, whether it's been around Ben Roberts-Smith, whether it's been around UK SF allegations and that type of thing. And I've got Mr. Oliver Schultz on the list of reactions to do as well. Once I get to that, I think some of that is covered in this, from what I understand from people that have sent through this link and saying, oh, you should do a reaction to this, have a look at this, blah, blah, blah. So here we are, and let's jump in.
They're going to look back and see that we were the guys in there murdering and invading and not there to do something that is honourable.
They are Australia's elite special forces, the lethal operatives of the Special Air Service Regiment, the SAS.
Just wondering who that guy was that showed his face. Hopefully he's not an actor, like what they did with the UK SF allegations, and those making the allegations not wanting to show their face, so they BBC enlisted actors. So hopefully that guy's not an actor, maybe he's an operator that was there on the ground. Who knows?
For more than a decade they were on the front lines of Australia's longest war.
You try to look back at your career as try and be proud of it, but then you've got all these incidents. You see yourself as part of the bad guys.
Tonight,
if he is an operator, I don't know him. He may have got to the unit after I had already left. Yeah, but I don't recognise him at all.
the deadly operations in Afghanistan with Australia's secretive SAS.
Hold up. For fuck's sake. Yeah, get the fuck out.
Revealed in never-before-seen footage obtained by Four Corners.
You know, again, here's the media showing snippets of actions carried out by, you know, a distinctive Australian accent there, carried out by Australian soldiers, troops in Afghanistan. And you're cherry-picking pieces that if anybody, a civilian, or maybe even military or ex-military looking at this, maybe not, I'd like to think not so much ex-military, looking at this, could almost be forgiven for thinking, geez, why are they doing that to these people? They look like innocent people. What hopefully people will understand or realize is that you don't know if these people are innocent when you're going in there. The enemy in their backyard, they've been no stranger to surrounding themselves with females, with women and children to try to disguise who they are or use them as shields, whatever the case may be. So when the soldiers are going in there and you've got your mission set, you've got your intelligence that you've been given, and you've been given your task of what you're going in there hard. You're going in there on edge, ready for a fight if one happens or eventuates, but also looking to use your training and control and restraint as and where you need to, like what they're doing there. Yeah, the language people might be listening to might not agree with it or might not like it, you know, but you're not in that situation. You're trying to communicate with people that probably don't speak English. You're trying to make it as clear as you can that they need to come out and that they need to listen to the instructions. Sometimes soldiers, operators are going to use some colourful language to try to get those points across, because for whatever reason, swearing or cussing, whatever you want to call it, seems to get through regardless of whatever language you speak. From an English perspective anyway, they're probably fairly well known. So anyway, I just share that now because of when I'm looking at this, I'm still pretty biased. I 100% admit that. I'm still pretty biased with regards to my thoughts around the SF, and me just, they're good people. Like, the vast majority are good people. So I know that I'm biased in that regard, but also I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of what would somebody be thinking that wasn't necessarily a soldier or that had never served in the military but might have an interest in it. So that's where I'm coming from with that, as I try to balance things out and just sort of shine a light on what doesn't seem accurate and or what doesn't provide as much context and information as it can, could, or should.
For the first time, a Special Forces operative who was on these covert missions speaks out about what he saw.
The guy had his hands up, and then it was almost like target practice for that soldier. He shot.
All right. So they're saying this for the first time, a Special Forces soldier speaks out. So this guy, was he with, I don't know if he's with the commandos or if he's an SASR operator. So anyway, what I will say, if this is the guy and he's not an actor, massive respect to him for putting his face on the camera, right? I know that this Four Corners Killing Fields, from what I could see, was about 5 years ago, this video. I may be wrong. It might have been even before that, or it might have been more recent. But the fact that this guy has the courage to put his face on there as an ex-SF operator has my respect from that perspective. So let's hear what he has to say. See, I just heard him saying target practice and stuff. So
Got him, twice through the chest and then once through the head as he walked past him.
For years, the secrets about what exactly happened in the valleys, fields and mud villages of Afghanistan have remained hidden. With a major inquiry about to report on suspected war crimes, Four Corners will tonight reveal the culture of impunity among some of our special forces, as well as proof captured on camera of a cold-blooded killing.
In your opinion, were war crimes committed in Afghanistan by Australia's Special Forces?
Yes, there were. You can't shoot unarmed people and not call that murder.
just on that, with regards to what that operator mentioned, you can't shoot unarmed people and not call that murder. Man, yeah, I agree with that. In the just the purest form of that context that he's talking about, there may be other scenarios or situations which I or you or I or we may not be aware of, whereby the need to drop somebody who appears to be unarmed may be valid. I don't know. I haven't been in that situation. I'm just speaking here in terms of what ifs, hypotheticals. But yeah, I agree with what that operator has mentioned. I'd be curious to know if he said anything, if he brought up anything with his teammates there on the ground, or if he saw that it just happened and caught him off guard by surprise, or did he see it about to happen and did he try to intervene? Did he bring up anything in the debrief? Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe he did bring it up with his team, with his troop, with his squadron, and maybe nothing was happening, and maybe that's what he feels has forced his hand to come out and do what he's doing now. And again, man, if that's what he witnessed, and he's tried to do something about it in those moments and it's fallen on deaf ears, respect him for coming out. It just makes me wonder again if this guy, as I presume an ex-SAS operator or commando, whatever, if he can come out and show his face, why can't the other ex-SF operators come out and show their faces? You know, why can't they come out and show their faces? The ones that have been pointing all these allegations towards, or what appears to be towards, Ben Roberts-Smith. Just like Ben Griffin, ex-22 SAS. He can show his face. This guy, I don't know his name yet. He's showing his face. In the UK SF space, you got guys that are, and you got the BBC that are incorporating and hiring actors to say the words of these ex-operators. It's bloody bit Mickey Mouse to me. Seems a bit Mickey Mouse anyway.
Afghanistan 2012. The brutal conflict was in its 11th year. Braden Chapman was on his first deployment. A signals intelligence officer fresh out of training with the SAS, he was struck by a country mired in war.
Okay. Braden, I think they heard, I didn't catch the surname, but signals, comms guy, sounds like. So whether maybe he's a Beret qualified comms guy, so maybe he went through selection and cycle, but it doesn't sound like it. Hey, that's probably, from my perspective, that's probably even gutsier again. It may be why he's showing his face, because he's wasn't an SF operator. I don't know. But to me, again, that's probably another level of courage again, to be showing his face. He's not an ex-SF operator. And so the comments and stuff that I've read and heard of people around the UK SF space, and that those ex-operators may be worried about people coming after them or their families. Surely this guy, like, wouldn't it be the same? Would he not have those same sort of concerns? I don't think you're going to have operators targeting other operators and their families with regards to them coming out. I could be wrong in that, been wrong on plenty of things, but yeah, okay. So he's not an operator. Braden.
I thought it was a really beautiful country. You had snow-capped peaks. Where the rivers were, it was really green in the valleys. And I used to say to people, it would be a great place for forward driving and outdoor.
Braden Chapman, Signals Intelligence Officer. Okay. 2006, 2017, 11 years. And he's in there during all the heavy lifting parts of the global war on terror. So massive respect to this guy, Braden Chapman. Put in your face here, Signals Intelligence Officer. Okay, so it doesn't say he was SAS or a commando. Signals Intelligence. So comms guy. All right. It still looks like and sounds like he's getting out on the ground with the lads, with the teams, probably because of the specialist skills that he has.
Adventure if you didn't have all the war.
Braden Chapman would get to see much of the beauty of Afghanistan from a Black Hawk helicopter. He would also see much of the war's brutality during his deployment with the elite 3 Squadron SAS.
So 3 Squadron. Interesting, because I thought the stuff that I'd heard earlier was talking about 2 Squadron from memory. I had the good fortune, privilege to be a member of the unit. I was a member of 1 Squadron. Had some friends that were in both 2 and 3 Squadron. Not a lot, and I didn't know a vast majority of the other operators within 2 Squadron or 3 Squadron. That's just the way it was. Like, you're with your squadron, you're with your troop. You know the people within your troop, within your squadron, and yeah, at least that's how it was for me anyway. So 3 Squadron he's talking about. I thought the allegations around were to do with 2 Squadron, but anyway, let's jump.
There's definitely a buzz of elitism, because it is the best thing you can do for your career to go to that unit, especially when you're a lower rank and you're actually going to get to do a lot of hands-on stuff.
Sorry to cut him off. I think it's if you're if you're a person that likes soldiering, it's the best thing. I think it's the best thing you can do for your career to go SF. If you're not into soldiering and you're into other stuff like mechanic, carpentry, engineering, cooks, drivers, whatever, all that sort of stuff, nothing wrong with it. It's awesome. Logistics. Then it's not the place. It's not the best thing you can do for your career. But interesting. So hopefully, or probably doesn't talk about his journey into there, but a signals intelligence officer. Maybe just the posting came up at the time, and maybe that's a place that he wanted to go because they've got some very highly skilled, highly capable signals operators or members that support the regiment exceptionally well.
You definitely feel confident with these guys. I never once felt like I was going out and I was unprotected. I never felt like we weren't going to get through it.
It was Braden Chapman's job to find Taliban targets by intercepting and tracking their communications.
Yeah, okay. So having somebody like him with his specialist skill set, super handy, and very, very good at what they do. So that's starting to make more sense and is probably worth, I don't know if it's said it yet, but is probably worth the SAS or an SAS team or patrols.
If we were going out on a mission where we were chasing a mobile phone target, then I would be with either myself or the other signals intelligence operator. Would be with the teams, and we'd be going in close and tracking that phone. Often when they hear the helicopters coming in, they would actually turn their mobile phones off.
Within days of deploying with the SAS in Afghanistan, Braden Chapman got a sense of what was to come during a...
Sorry, I was just having a chuckle at the lad trying to boot those wooden doors, and doesn't look great. It's easy for me to sit here in the peanut gallery and go, get some bloody more aggression into that kick, mate. But that's probably not a shining moment that operator probably wants to have shown on television.
Conversation with one of the squadron's senior soldiers.
I was at the same bench as him, prepping my equipment, and he just kind of started some general chit-chat, and then he said to me, I hope you're ready and prepared for this deployment because you need to make sure that you're okay with me putting a gun to someone's head and pulling the trigger because I don't want to read about it in 10 or so years.
What did you think when you heard that?
I knew he was a bit of a loose cannon anyway, but yeah, at the time I was just kind of like, okay, that's how you're going to be.
That's a bit of an introduction to the team. I can't speak today. I wasn't there, but what I can say is it's not daunting. Daunting's not the right word. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's the word that's just popping up into the forefront of my mind, probably because I don't have enough vocab. But it can be challenging, and you're always wondering if the people, like especially if you're taking people that aren't beret qualified, so they haven't been through selection, they haven't been through cycle, they haven't completed the training to the same level that you've done in order to earn a place to be part of that team, to go on these types of jobs. They've got specialist skill sets, which, qualify them to do that part of their job, but they're not you haven't built the trust with them, is what I'm trying to get at. You haven't built, so that whoever that operator was that's had this conversation with Mr. Chapman doesn't know him, hasn't built the trust with him like he has with the other guys that have been through that same crucible, that have been through that same process to get to where they are. Now your team is having this other person, this external person introduced with specialist skills, rightly so, which is cool, but you don't know them. You don't know how they'll respond under fire. You don't know what their skill level is like. There's just lots of unknowns. Are they going to freeze in the heat of battle? All that sort of stuff. Can you depend on them? There's lots of unknowns. So this may be, this is probably his honest take of what was said and how it was said, but it could probably be misinterpreted. So from the other side of the coin, for anybody watching, it's trying to get an understanding that when you got guys that have been through a selection, earned their place to get to that unit and to do this type of work, there's a level of trust that is just intrinsic in and amongst the guys for there. And you just feel rock solid, like he mentioned. So he alluded to it. He never once felt like they weren't going to get through it. He said he definitely felt safe with these guys. That is the environment that, without saying anything, that during my time as well, that's the confidence that you have in your teammates. That's the confidence that you have in yourself and your ability that you will do whatever it is that you need to do for your brothers, for your mates, and you have absolute confidence that they're going to do the same for you. And so for anybody watching this may not have that understanding or that context, for me, that's where I feel like this guy is coming from, speaking to him. If you're listening to it, it sounds like this guy is speaking to him and sounds like a bit of a, like you said, a loose cannon, and he's just looking to go out and murder people. So it doesn't paint it in a real positive light. And the fact that neither you or I or we were in that conversation, it was just this guy, Braden, Mr. Chapman, and whoever the other operator is, it was their conversation. It's, it's he said in regards to this particular conversation. And again, we're only getting one version of it, and we're getting the version that the media wants us to hear and receive. Anyway.
This is a highlights reel of 3 Squadron's 2012 rotation in Afghanistan. Edited together and set to music by SAS soldiers themselves. It's among more than 10 hours of SAS footage captured by the soldiers on their own cameras and obtained by Four Corners. It gives a rare glimpse of the reality on the ground and how these elite special forces view themselves. It shows a brotherhood forged by firefights and the adrenaline of daily raids and operations outside the wire.
When we'd go in, if we found a small cache in an area and it was just in somebody's side room attached to a house, they'd often just light it on fire or blow it, depending on how much time they had. And that would usually burn down the house or blow out a wall.
So, not exactly a way of winning hearts and minds, in your opinion?
No.
Fucking hell. I think I was a bit in the open there.
Often they'd read out the numbers of how many cars they'd blown up, or dogs they'd shot was another one. They were pretty quick to shoot dogs.
And why were dogs shot?
There was a threat to our own dogs, so they were worried about that.
No, get him.
But I did see them shoot dogs that were tied on chains, which were clearly not a threat.
And back to you for a stunt.
Looking at that, like the footage, looking at that last part there with the motorbike being just sort of revved off the little edge there, can look really unnecessary. Again, no context in and around it. If that village or location is friendly and supportive to insurgents, to Taliban, whoever the enemy is that they're looking for, you're not going to want to leave, this is just my take, you're not going to want to leave resources for their reinforcements at some stage to come back down from the mountains and go back into that village and salvage whatever they can. You're going to look to want to destroy what you can in that place, damage it, wreck it, blow it up, set it on fire, so that the insurgents can't just come back and then salvage, like I mentioned, whatever they can, and then take that lift and shift and go somewhere else. So although I don't know if that's what was happening, when you're looking at the video footage, right, it looks like they're just having some fun. Looks like they're having some fun and just destroying things for the sake of destroying it. But I could say that that's not what the intent would be if we had more context and understanding in and around it. We're getting snippets of video footage where the guys are looking to damage and destroy that motorbike. It probably doesn't look like it's damaged it that much. That could potentially still be salvaged and used by the insurgency if this place was an insurgent, not stronghold, but an insurgent supportive or friendly location, as an example. That's what I'm trying to get across. If this stuff is happening and it was a non-supportive village, or village of where they've gone into, and you're just kicking around and blowing stuff up and damaging things for these, with regard to these people that are there, then that's completely wrong, right? Like that's not what you're there for. But again, this would come back from my understanding, limited as it is, and not having been there on the ground. This would come back to the intelligence and information that they are being given, and this would come back to Mr. Braden Chapman as the signals intelligence guy, getting the ping on the mobile phones, which is suggesting, I'm guessing, that there is somebody of interest who is a known threat to the whole operation, or has connections to bad people, let's say, who is in that area. And if that person is going to bring their business into that area, then the soldiers are going to look at and likely treat that whole place as being friendly to these insurgents, to these bad players, or to these bad people that have pinged up on Mr. Chapman's device, whatever they're using to track these mobile phones. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. It does to me in my head, but maybe I haven't articulated it as well as what I could. But man, if you're going to allow, let's use the term dirtbags, insurgents to be in your area, and they're known, and that's the intelligence and information that has been passed on to these soldiers. They're coming in hard, like I mentioned, and you can expect that if they find things that could potentially be useful or used by the insurgency, they're going to look to destroy it. They're going to look to burn it. They're going to look to blow it up. And if you've got dogs whereby there is a threat to their dogs or whatever, as we saw there, one of the guys like tripped up and got sat on his backside as he looked like shooting one of the dogs. Shooting dogs that are tied up, that look like they pose no threat. Yeah, again, I'm not on the ground, not my place to make a judgment. The operators on the ground are making that call in that time, in that moment. So, but there's a lot in here, eh? There's lots that just don't make up the full picture, and that don't give as much of an understanding in terms of what the operators are going into. And again, I'll reiterate, I've said it on other reaction videos, operators are being employed and trusted in going into these things based on the training that they've received, based on the psychometric testing that they undergo, the aptitude testing, and then the hardship, the resilience, the endurance that they go through, the slog, the grind, the high self-drive to get to where they want to get to. Then they're refining and sharpening those skills to be able to operate and function. Guys within the regiment, within the unit, regardless, special forces across the board have got interesting and different personalities and senses of humor. And, you see some of that come through. Guys jumping around, jumping off the walls and coming back down. They're not robots. They've got personalities, is what I'm trying to get at. SF operators, just like anybody else, have got their own distinct, unique personalities, which make them who they are. They're not everybody's the same. Not everybody looks the same, talks the same, dresses the same. They're all just unique individuals, and they'll find ways of having a laugh at themselves, at others, with others, just like anybody else will. So I don't think we should be taking or should be looking at that and going, oh, that's just so unprofessional. Look at them. How can they be doing that? What do they think this is? As a game? They don't think it's I'm making an assumption here. I don't believe they think it's a game. But things happen when you're walking around, random stuff. Some people have got their own personalities and they may do things for the sake of putting a smile on their teammate's face or making themselves feel a little bit happier or whatever the case might be. Do you and I agree with it? Is it our place to agree with it? Well, it doesn't really matter what we think. They're doing it for whatever their reasons are. The fact that you and I may see it differently or whatever is neither here nor there because we weren't on the ground with them. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. But holy heck, I've only gone through not even 7.5 minutes, and it's on 31 minutes on here now. So I'll look to wrap this one up. Otherwise, this will probably be a 5-hour marathon of me doing one if I try to do this in one hit. But I'll come back to this. Appreciate those that have sent this through, that have sent the request through asking. Haven't been avoiding it. Just been busy doing a whole bunch of other reactions, which you would have seen go up. And now, this is next on the list, and I'll start chipping away at this along with some other reactions in that as well. So appreciate your time and support as always, the suggestions, the recommendations. Appreciate the input, the feedback, the comments, whether your comments go completely against my thoughts and my bias, which I'm open and speaking about here. I know I have a bias towards the regiment because I have a lot of respect for the regiment, for the unit, for the operators within it. At least the men that I know and knew and that I served with. So I just state that as a disclaimer, for want of a better term. But then also I'm trying to give a little bit more context as best I can, because as I've mentioned, I wasn't on the ground there with these guys as well during these periods of time. So, we'll leave that at that for this one. As always, the message is the same. Anybody going through any hard times, difficulties, challenges, man, just encourage you to keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, keep putting one foot in front of the other and take one day at a time. I know things can feel lonely, miserable, hard, and at times they can feel like it's not worth it. I can tell you from experience, it's always worth it. No matter how miserable or hard it gets, it is always worth it to keep turning up, to keep staying in the fight. So keep doing it. The sun will shine again. There are better days ahead, and there is a light at the end of that tunnel. I promise you, things can and will get better. So stay at it. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.